Hey everybody, welcome to Wacky Wednesday number 33 on the Mana Leek. I'm John as always, and today we're going to be drafting Tempest Remastered. For anybody who's not familiar with what Tempest Remastered is, this is an online set only. It doesn't exist in paper. Well, technically it kind of does. But basically there were the sets Tempest, Exodus, and Stronghold way back when, maybe 15 years ago now. Not that long ago. Well, maybe it was that long ago. Somewhere around there anyways. These are sets that people loved. I have huge nostalgia associated with these three sets. They were my last three sets before I got out of Magic way back then. But they weren't a great draft set. They were the second time that Wizards had ever actually tried to build a set that could be drafted well. Sets before that were just built. You know, the cards were just thrown in, people drafted them, and it wasn't a terribly good experience. So what they did with this set, because it still wasn't a great set to draft, is they took those three sets and they crunched it down to one. So it's one normal-sized set of draftable cards. All of the garbage cards have been taken out. The colors have been balanced so that they're all kind of equal in power, which they definitely weren't way back then, etc. So they really just kind of went back and remastered the set, and I have a feeling they might do this possibly every year for those older sets until they run out of them. But yeah, I've done one of these and didn't do terribly well. I don't terribly know what I should be drafting. With Tempest Block, you drafted black red and won, or you didn't, and you probably lost. With this set, as far as I'm reading, you can draft basically anything except for blue-green and potentially do pretty well. But we're going to jump into this queue, and it's Wacky Wednesday. We're going to just see how we do with this set and see what we can pull off. But I'm going to join this queue, and I'll see you guys for Pack 1, Pick 1. Hey everybody, here we are for Pack 1, Pick 1, and our rare is Recycle, which isn't necessarily the best for drafting. Maybe for a wacky kind of draft, but we're going to try to draft this well. It's wacky because it's not standard. Skip your draw step whenever you play a card. Draw a card, your maximum hand size is 2. It's got some fun things you can do with it, but otherwise, eh. So, what are we looking at here? Well, we've got Reanimate. If we wanted to go kind of black-green mill, get creatures back. There is just Root Walla, which is just a solid green creature. Scrivener is a good card for your control-y decks. Dismiss is a pretty darn good card for your control decks. Other than that, I'm not seeing anything too much. I think it's kind of between Dismiss, Root Walla, and maybe Reanimate. All right, let's take the Root Walla. I was going to take the Dismiss, but that's the card that I actually first picked last time I did this off of video. It didn't go terribly well. So what do we have here? We've got ourselves a Dauthi Slayer, which is a pretty nice aggressive creature, as is Carnophage. Field of Souls, what do you do? Whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 white spirit token. Not the best. Curiosity is decent-ish. I don't think there's too much going on here, really. So I think it's kind of the Dauthi Slayer, the Carnophage that we're looking at. Both aggressive. Carnophage needs to be super aggressive, but it is a single black as opposed to the double black. Dauthi Slayer does have the Shadow, which is pretty nice. I think maybe we'll go with the Dauthi Slayer. It's an uncommon versus common, so maybe that will be my deciding factor. We've got another Shadow guy, and a pretty good one at that. 2/1 for 3 is pretty decent. Other than that, what do we have? We have not too much. I mean, Sky Shroud Troll is okay. Kind of expensive by today's standards, but kind of okay. Youthful Knight's pretty solid. But I think we might just stick with black. Yeah, let's do that. Black Shadow for the time being. Alright, we've got Cannibalize. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by the same player. Exile 1 of those creatures and put 2 +1/+1 counters on the other. Kind of fun. You need to set up for it, but kind of fun. Revenant, if we're going to go creature heavy, could be good. It's a flying creature. It's star, and its power toughness are the number of creatures in your graveyard. So you need to have a lot of creatures in your graveyard. There is a Canyon Wildcat, which is just a solid red aggressive creature, and we could ditch green and go red. That is a distinct possibility. And since there's nothing else terribly awesome in this pack, I think that might be what I take. And just kind of hedge the possibility of going black-red. Yeah, we get another Canyon Wildcat. And not much else. There's a Wall of Blossoms, which is good. Doesn't really fit the aggressive deck, but it is good. An 0-4 for 2, plus it replaces itself, is the nicest part of it. So the question is, do we take the Wildcat and really start to go down the black-red aggro plan, or do we hedge our bets with the Wall of Blossoms? Well, Root Wall is better than Canyon Wildcat, so yeah, let's take the Wall of Blossoms for now. And we get a bunch of green, so maybe that was the right option. Canyon Spider, a 1/3 reach for 2. Elven Right, distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures. That would be much better if it was an instant. Provoke, on tap target creature you don't control. That creature blocks this turn of Able. It's a fun little trick, and it might be the trick that I take. Because Canyon Spider just seems super replaceable to me. Not going to take Rats of Wrath. Sandstone Warrior goes in red. But now let's take the Provoke. Fugue. Target player discards 3 cards for a whole lot of mana. No thanks. And then, of course, we get a lot of red. Furnace Brood's okay. Mog Fanatic's okay. Mog Maniac, he's okay. But we just went down the green road. So there's not much for me here. I guess I maybe take the Mog Maniac just in case green truly does dry up. Yeah, let's take that. I guess I could just end up red-green. I do have only those 2 black cards so far. What do we get here? Angelic Blessings. Fairly decent. Obviously better if it's an instant, but still not too bad. Not much going on here, really. We've got a stun that we could play if we go red. Maybe we do have to just ditch black. It could happen. Could happen. Or this draft could just go down in flames. One of the two. Alright, we get ourselves Dark Ritual, which isn't terribly great. Especially if we're going to ditch black. So maybe we just take the Mog Fanatic. It's an okay creature. It can maybe kill some things if they are an X1. Better than Flowstone Blade, I think. So yeah, let's take that. And then we get a bunch of black back, including a Carnophage. I do not know where this draft is going. I don't remotely know where this draft is going. But let's take the Carnophage. Mog Conscript, sure. Alright, let's start pushing red-black, I guess. Dungeon Shade, totally okay as well. Rats of Wrath, not okay. But we'll take it and sideboard it. Anoint, whatever. And a Plains. So, I guess we're gonna probably push red-black, despite our pack 1, pick 1 Root Walla. That's a shame, but oh well. What do we get here? Spitting Hydra. Can't imagine you're worth anything, but let me check. Nope, not remotely, but are you any good? 5 mana for a 4/4. You can remove a counter to deal a damage. That's kind of cool. Crashing Boars if we go green. Whenever it attacks, defending player chooses an untapped creature he or she controls. That creature blocks this turn of Able. That's kind of cool. Evankar's Justice, pretty useful. 2 damage to each creature and player, plus buyback on it. There's a Deathstroke as well, and a Gravedigger. Oh, and a Kindle. There's a lot of stuff in this pack. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in this pack. At least some of it should come back. So I will take the fancy rare. Oh, there was so much good stuff in that pack. But hey, we get past a Crovax. He is also a 4/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, you can sack a creature. He basically eats it to put a +1/+1 counter on it. If you don't, he gets hungry and loses a counter, though. But he has flying. So he's a pretty fun guy. Goblin Bombardment, Craven Giant, another Deathstroke. Deathstroke's one of the weaker removal spells, but it's still removal. But I think we'll just take the Crovax here. And I think we will commit to black-red. Let's see. We've got ourselves Maniacal Rage. It's decent. +2/+2 for 2. And can't block is relatively okay, especially on a Shadow guy, because they may not be blocking anyways. Otherwise, we're looking at Barbed Sliver. Slivers are a trap. Serpent Warrior. Yeah, I think I might just take the Maniacal Rage here. What's Maze of Shadows do? On tap target attacking creature with Shadow. No. Yeah, let's just take the Maniacal Rage, and let's cut the green. The green train has sailed. So, I want to get a bunch of 3-drops, ideally. Volrath's Stronghold. Aren't you worth something? No, it's worth 250. I might just take it. That's a better part of a pack. There's a Dothy Horror here, which would be decent. There's a Shadow Storm I don't super care about, especially since I'm going to be playing Shadow. There's a Sandstone Warrior that might come back around. Yeah, I'll just take the 250. And I mean, I'm in black. I could play it. Yeah, let's take it. Let's take it. Wall of Souls, decent. Gravedigger. Surprised to see that this late. So he's a 2/2. When he comes into play, you can take a creature card from the graveyard to your hand. Pretty solid. Probably better than the Wall of Souls. Better than the Jackal. What are Stalking Stones? 6 mana for a 3/3. Oh, but it just always stays that way. That's not bad. But yeah, we're going to take Gravedigger. It's just a solid card. Spell Shock. Whenever a player casts a spell, deals 2 damage to that player. You obviously need to be the creature super heavy deck. But there is a Lowland Giant here, and I think I might just take that. Although that is starting to fill me up on 4-drops. Hopefully that'll be our last 4-drop, perhaps. I don't think Spell Shock's worth it. Yeah, no, let's go Lowland Giant. Well, there's the Dothy Horror that we passed last time. Or it's not the same one, but it is one of them. Can't be blocked by white creatures. Not super relevant. The relevant part is he's a 2/1 for 2, which has Shadow, which is generally unblockable for a good chunk of the game and a good chunk of the decks. Anarchist is okay. You have to have sorceries that you really want back. He's the significantly worse version of Scrivener. But we're going to take Dothy Horror here. Stay low on the curve. Reanimate looks like the pick here, because there's no other playables. And Reanimate's fairly okay if I need to play it. Another Mog Conscripts isn't necessarily what I want to do. It's the only pick here, so I'll take it. But we're going to need a lot of low casting cost creatures to play multiple Mog Conscripts. Because, of course, you can only attack if you've cast a creature that turn. Goblin Bombardment, not worth it. Craven Giant, 4/1 that can't block. Seems okay. He's a 3-drop, which is a slot that I really want. So I think I'll take him. At least we're getting our colors. At least we're getting our colors. Nothing here, though. So I could just take the rare. Just for the heck of it. Let's do it. Collect all of the Tempest Remastered rares. Not much here. We've already got a stun. I don't super need a second one. So let's take a Dark Ritual that we're not going to play. Shatter, I don't know of any artifacts that I'd be terribly afraid of. I don't think I have any sorceries. So yeah, let's take Shatter. Sky Shaper. Not going to play it. And a Forest. Well, we didn't open any value rares, unfortunately. We got Aurum Samite Healer, worth a whopping 4 cents. But what do we have for our deck? Not much. Craven Giant, a Clot Sliver, or a Mog Flunkies. Now, luckily, Mog Flunkies do fit into our creature-heavy aggressive deck. But otherwise, bad pack for us. That is bad. Coffin Queen, what do you do? 3 mana 1/1. I cannot untap it. I can pay 3, tap it to put target creature card from a graveyard, onto the battlefield under my control. And when she becomes untapped, I lose control of Coffin Queen, exile that creature. Well, that's kind of nifty. I I think I'm okay. Oh, there's a Diabolic Edict. Oh, why does this pack have so much good black? I saw Dathi Marauder, and I thought the pick was going to be between Queen and Marauder, but Edict is removal, and I kind of need it. One of those black cards should come back around. I'd like to fool around with playing with Coffin Queen here, but I think we just have to take the Edict, unfortunately. Sacromancy, not good. Not good at all. We've got a Carnophage, we've got a Kindle, a Sandstone Warrior. I think Kindle's going to be what we take. It's basically an expensive shock for the first one. If you have more, it gets even better. But it's removal. We need removal. Carnophage might come back around. So let's take Kindle. Deadshot. This blew me out multiple times in the previous draft I did. You get to tap a creature, and it deals damage equal to its power to another creature. It's a really weird fight card, sort of. Searing Touch is 1 damage with a very expensive buyback. Another Dathi Horror, another Lowland Giant. Yeah, we'll take Deadshot. I had a Killer Whale, which is a 3/5, and I had a Silver Wyvern, which is a 4/3. The Wyvern, you can pay a mana to redirect any spell that only targets the Wyvern. So the guy multiple times tapped my Killer Whale, the 3/5, and had it deal 3 damage to the Wyvern, and because the spell targeted 2 creatures, I couldn't redirect it either. Tapping me down, getting in for attacks, and blowing up my one of my rare bombs. So we've got Aftershock, destroy target artifact, creature, or land, and deal 3 damage to me. You know, it does destroy a creature. Could be okay. It's not the best, and it's another 4-drop. Might be the only thing we have to take, though. Might be the only thing we have to take, because I don't want another Lowland Giant either. We'll take it, but I don't think we're going to play it. What else are we not going to play? Well, maybe everything kind of has to be played so far. Maybe not Reanimate, but we'll see. Still need one more playable, too. And I don't think it's in this pack. Wall of Diffusion. 2 mana for an 0/5. Can block creatures with Shadow, as though Wall of Diffusion had Shadow. Okay, so it can block everything. It's not terrible, but I'm trying to be aggressive here. We've got Thopter Squadron. It's a 5 mana 3/3. I can pay 1 to take a counter off of it to put a 1/1 Thopter out. I can pay 1 to sack a Thopter to put a counter back on it. So let me think. If I have 2 mana, I can make a blocker and then sack that blocker. But I have to get 5 mana to get this out in the first place. Doesn't terribly seem good enough to me. I think I might just go for yet another 2-drop with the wall. Could get yet another 2-drop with Clot Sliver, but it is just a 1/1. I think we'll instead go for the Barbed Sliver. It's a 2/2 for 3. It's okay. And I can make it bigger if I want to spend a lot of mana. Let's see. Deathstroke. Removal's good. Removal's good. And it's going to be the pick here. Another Craven Giant. That's a really late Root Walla. Wow. Yeah, I guess I could take Clot Sliver, but I'm not going to play it. I wouldn't have played the second Craven Giant either. So we need to cut stuff. What would be worthless? Hmm. 18 creatures. Ooh, another Dathi Jackal. I'm going to have more things to potentially cut. Nothing here is going to get played. Or here. So I need to make 3 cuts. Wow. I guess maybe Maniacal Rage. Although it is a 2-drop and it can go on some pretty useful things like all my Shadow guys. Maybe we take out the Dathi Slayer. The double black could be hard for turn 2. Maybe the wall. It doesn't really fit our plan at all. 2 more cuts. Oh, one of the Mog Conscripts. Yeah. Forgot about those guys. And Crovax. I need to be feeding stuff to Crovax or else he gets smaller. But I guess I don't have to do it every turn. I could let him become a 3/3. Yeah, I think Crovax needs to stay in. Maybe the stun isn't needed. I mean, it's kind of what I need to finish off a game, but maybe not. I think it might be the worst card. Well, maybe the Dungeon Shade, because it's just what? Yeah, it's just a 1/1. I have to really pay to make it big. So yeah, let's cut the Dungeon Shade. I think that's going to be our 23 there. We've got some options. We can bring in a wall if we face an even more aggressive deck. We can bring in Lowland Giant if we need a higher end game, but ultimately I think that's fairly okay. We're going to throw in Volrath's Stronghold, and then we're going to throw in probably slightly more mountains than swamps, I believe. 8/8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I guess I do have 2 double black in the 2-drop slot, though. So yeah, let's go with 8/8. Sounds good to me. So that's the deck there. I'm going to submit this, and then I'll see you guys for round 1, where hopefully we don't do too badly. But who knows? I have no idea about this remastered set. But I'll see you guys for round 1.